Hello, Mr. Alanj, how are you?
Baruch Hashem, very good.
Hey guys.
Yeah. Did you find out what the next Masechta is after this one? Is it Titus?
Titus, yeah.
Titus, okay, yeah, good. By the way, that's your brother-in-law's on the Reisman Shir every week, right? Your brother-in-law?
Yeah,
Is he in town? Is he in Switzerland or he's in town?
Switzerland.
Wow, so he cuts up pretty early, huh? Middle of the night. Huh?
No, 8 and 8. This week he won't be because it's still 8. Now it's 8 hours. So it would be at 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't think he'll be up.
Uh-huh.
But when we put the clock back, it will be 9 hours. So it's 5 in the morning. He'll get up.
Oh, okay. Wow, pretty good. You talk to him on Zoom also? You communicate with him on Zoom? Or
No,
WhatsApp?
we talk with WhatsApp. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Hi, Ernie.
Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
So we were learning yesterday. Okay, we're on Rosh Hashanah Chav Gimel Amud Aleph, and we said that they only would light the fires if the month was a chasser month, a 29-day month, not a 30-day month. Why? Because if a 29-month day, and that day was Friday, so we said they would always light the fire that night to let the world know that the previous month was only a 29-day month. If they didn't see any fire, then they know that there was a 30-day month. Well, the problem is Friday night you can't light a fire. So Amos Avdi Bafuke Shabta, they would do it Motzei Shabbos. And the Iamet Navid Nami Amale. But if the din was that they would light the fire after the 30th day, even like the 31st night, well, then also limit the Omri I Chasruhu. They would say they wouldn't know for sure that it's a Mole month. If they lit for both months, both 29 days and 30-day months, they might say if they saw it on Motzei Shabbos that really it's not a Mole month. But the reason we didn't see it was Friday night because you can't light a fire on Friday night. Or they might think Dilma Mole of his mana of this. So there would always be a suffix, is this a 29-day month or a 30-day month? So the din is they only lit it for a 29-day month. Ask the Gemara of 11 ben Amole ben Achaser. Maybe they should light it no matter what. If it's a 29-day month, they light it on the night of the 30th. If it's a 30-day month, they light it on the night of the 31st. And then Chimikla Rosh Chodesh Be'erev Shabbos Lo Levid Klal. Friday night, they would know that there would be no lighting. But keeping the law of Dina Motzei Shabbos. Josh, I'm teaching Daf Yomi. No, okay. Mainly, the keeping the law of Dina Motzei Shabbos, Vavdina Amole. And once they don't do it Friday night, they do it Saturday night, they know it's a mole. and they know, or they could say maybe Yore de Chasru. They could still make a mistake because Amri I'm Malehu. The fact that they lit it Saturday is Male, and the reason it wasn't done on the is maybe it Nusi who did this, maybe it was an accident. Maybe you should only light on a 30-day month and not on the 29th day. You see, when they were anticipating on the 30th day could be Rosh Chodesh, there are certain malachos that you don't do on Rosh Chodesh. So if you're waiting for 2 days, the Am would be out of work for 2 days. That they didn't want to do. How did they light the fire? Mevian klunsus. They brought cedar wood. There are 4 types of cedar: Erez, Katrom, Eit Shemen, Uvrosh. Katrom, Amarav, Adra. Adra is the name of the tree.
Eder tree.
Dvei Rab Shila Amri Mavliga. Which is another kind of tree. Vami lazu gulmish. Some people say it's gulmish. Upligat Rabbaravun, Rabbaravun, Amr be Rabba, Asar min Arazimim. There aren't 4 kinds of cedar, there's 10 kinds of cedar. Shenamar etain ba midbar eretz shita, vahadas ve'et shemen, asim barava, brosh tidar utashu yakta. Erez is arza. Shita is tornisa, which is the acacia tree. Hadas is a willow, asa. Eit shemen is a parsma, is, I guess, persimmon. Brosh is brata. Rashi says busu, baso. Tidar is shaga. Chef in French. Shep. Tashur is shervina. Rashi doesn't say anything on shervina. Hani shiva, but it's not 10, it's only 7. Kiyas Ravdimi Amar Siva Lechem Alonim, Almonim, Almogim. Aloinim is butmi, which is ulmi in French.
Elm.
Almoinim is baluti.
Oaks.
And almugim is kasita.
Coral.
Coral?
Yeah.
From the ocean.
Yeah.
Ikedi Amri Aroinim, Armoinim, Almoigim. Aronim is ore. Armoinim is dulvi. And Almoigim is this kasita, the coral. Then it says in a pasuk, Vitzi Adir Lo Yavrenu. So, Omer Rav Zuburne Gedola. There's a very big ship. And this is how they would harvest coral. Hechi Avdu Maisu Shis Alfi Gavri. They would get 6,000 men. Betracer Yarchi Shata. For 12 months. Va'armilo Tracer Alfi Gavri. 12,000 men. Beshisa Yarchi in 6 months. The Tani Lachala Deshachna. They would take a lot of sand and put it on the boat until the boat sinks very deep in the water. V'nachis bar amiroi. I guess the divers would go down. The koter atuni de kitnim b'chasisa. They would tie ropes to this coral that's on the bottom of the water to the boat. Then they would remove the sand. Well, things float in the water as it gets lighter and lighter. The boat goes up and up. The shuttle levari, and that pulls the coral up. The kama de midlay akromasio, it pulls it out and it goes with the boat. Umachlif al chad train bekaspa. It would be sold, very expensive. One of those took 2 pieces of silver. Tlas Parvis Sahavian. There were 3 ports. Tarti Be Romoy, V'chada de Be Parsoy. 2, I guess, where this coral was sold. 2 of them were Roman, 1 of them was Persian. Dve Romoy, Maskin Kosisa. The Roman ones would sell the coral. They Parsoy, Maskin Marganita, they would sell pearls in the Persian ones. Umekaya Parvisa de Mishamanig. They would call these the leader ports, or like a royal port, the Persian one. Every piece of wood that the Goyim took away from Yerushalayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring it back. Shenemar etein bamidbar eretz shita. Right, I will return to the midbar. Once they destroyed Yerushalayim, it was like a midbar. I will return to it to be like a forest. Ve'ein midbar Yerushalayim. Shenemar Sion midbar ha'isaf. Am Rav Yochanan. Kol me Torah v'einem alamda. Whoever learns Torah doesn't teach it. Doime lahadas bamidbar. He's like a willow tree in the desert. Willow has not a willow.
Myrtle.
Myrtle. Hadassah is a myrtle. Arava is a willow. Hadassah is myrtle. Myrtle has beautiful smell, but there's nobody to smell it in the desert. Whoever learns Torah and teaches it in a place, there's also like a myrtle in the midbar because nobody is benefiting from it. Woe is to the goyim of the world, there's no correction for them. Shenamar, tachas anachoshes avi zahav, tachas abarzel avi chesed, tachas ha'etzim nachosh v'tachas avodim barzel. Whatever they took, they're going to have to bring back much more expensive. They took copper, they're going to have to bring gold. They took iron, you have to bring silver. Yeah, but they killed that Rabbi Kiva and his Chavim. How are they going to be metaking that? We can't revenge. There's no way to get those Talmidei Chachamim back. And they would light the fires until a certain place on the border. My base Baltin, Amarav Zubira. It's a place called Bira. My Goyla, Amrav Yosef Zu Pumpadisa. That means the fires went all the way to Bavel. My Kedurasa Aish. It doesn't mean that once it got to Pumpadisa, it looked like a torch. Tana Kolecha Vechad Noit Lavuk B'Yodav Rosh Gago. Each person in his house would get a torch, go up to his roof, and wave it. Tanya, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer. These are also cities. Charim, Kiar, Geder were other cities where the masuos would be lit. That they were between these cities. That it was only on one side of Eretz Yisrael. How come some people mention these cities and some people don't? Some people only mention the cities that are on one side of Eretz Yisrael, not the other. In between each city were 8 parsos. A parsa is 3 mil. So 8 parsos is like 25 miles. How many stops were there? Plus in Vitartim, 32. Well, 32 times 25 is like 600 miles. Well, Bavel is a lot further than 600 miles. It's like the distance is greater. Amar Abaye istatum ludarche. That the roads that were straight have now been curved. That's why it's longer. T'chsiv lachein nishachas darchech basirim. The roads got deeper during the Zman of the Golos. Mishnah. There was a courtyard in Yerushalayim that the Eidim who came to testify would gather there. They would check the Eidim there. They would make meals to make it very attractive for them to come. In fact, since they came from Chutz L'Tchum, and you come to a place now, you have to stay. You can't go more than Dal Amas if you're beyond your Tchum. However, that was difficult for the Eidim. Even though they had already come from the distant place, they were given the same Tchum as the people in the city. If a midwife comes to give birth to a woman, she would also be given 2,000 amas. Or somebody who travels from far to help save from a fire. Or minagayas from the Roman legions, or minanar from a flood, or minamapolis or an earthquake. All of these people are elukan she'ir v'yesham alpayim l'chol. Iboilu, base yaziknan or base yazektnan, with an iron or not. Base yazektnan is lishnam al-yahi, which is a positive thing. It's correction. Dichsi vayazkeyu vayisakleu. Oidima base yaziknan lishna ditzaru. It's a tsar. It's pain. Dichsi vu asur bazikim, like chains. Amra abaya torsh masudas dos ayosalem sham. It's like a happy. It was like party. Of course, there's no riot from there because Dil Matarte Avo Avdibu. Maybe it was a party, but it was also sad because they didn't allow them initially to travel more than 4 amas. Mishnah Ketzad Boikin Esaidim Zug Shabarishon Boikin Esarishon. The first pair that came, they would be checked first. The older aid is put in first. We're going to see what this means is, let's say the moon, you have a little crescent moon here, and the sun is here. The black part of the moon is always opposite where the sun is. You cannot have the sun here and the black part of the moon next to it. It's always on the other side of where the sun is, because that's how the shade goes. And Chazal knew that. How high was it? Which way was it pointed? What was its width? If he said that the dark side of the moon was facing the sun, we know he is a liar. Now, if the first aid said correct, and then the second aid agreed with him, then it's a good edus. Now, they interviewed all the other 80, even if the first group gave the right answer, they played along. They made like a hatzaga, and they asked the other 18 questions, big, general questions. They didn't need them. They would be the priest, and they would never come back. So they made it a positive experience for everybody. So Amar Abaya explains that means the pegima of the Levana is the part of the moon that's dark. So if you have a crescent here, right? This is the moon, but
okay, we understand where the crescent is, Ernie. Come on.
Okay, so
You're drawing it.
Right. Like I said,
You can't see it.
okay. If the sun is here the sun is here and the moon is here. So the crescent has to be next to the sun. And the dark part of the moon has to be away from the sun. That's the Pegima never, the Pegima of the Levana is where the moon is dark. The dark side of the moon never faces the sun. And they would, because sometimes you'd see the moon, the sun is setting, and then you see the moon rising. Well, when they would see the sun, they would ask them, was the dark part of the moon next to the sun or away from the sun? They would have to say it's away from the sun. Otherwise, we know they're lying, because the anatomy can never be such that the Pegima of the Levana is facing the sun. If it's right next to the sun, it's worthless. The sun was never next to the dark side of the moon. Also, the rainbow. Here's a rainbow. The Pegima is the inner side. So the sun is always on the other side of the Pegima. Right? Here's the rainbow. The Pegima is the part under the rainbow. So the sun is always opposite that. Or let's say if you have a rainbow, sometimes doesn't touch the ground. You have a rainbow in the sky. So it's the same thing. A rainbow will be this way. You can be sure the sun is here. The sun will never be on the concave portion of the rainbow. Now, the Gemara gives like a mystical reason or like a story reason. Because remember, the moon is embarrassed because it was made to become smaller. So it's embarrassed for the sun to see the side of it that's chaser. So it's not a scientific reason it's given a more ethical or moral reason. Because they shouldn't say the people who worship the sun that it's like a bow and arrow and the sun is firing its bow and arrow. Right? A bow and arrow is the other way. Right? Bow and arrow, you face the concavity. And it was as if the sun is firing a bow and arrow. We don't want the Ovdei Chama to be able to say that. Okay. So tomorrow,